Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the new chapter called Motion in a Straight Line. In this chapter, you are going to study about the motion of the objects. Okay? Motion of the objects. What do you mean by motion? What do you mean by motion of the object? Motion means it is nothing but change in the position of the object with respect to time. Initially, the object is at this place. Okay? After 5 minutes, the object may reach into some other position. So, the change in the position of the object with respect to the time taken is nothing but motion. It is nothing but called as motion. So, the first sentence you have to write in this chapter as motion. It is nothing but change in position of the object with respect to time is called motion. If the body is moving in a straight line, we call it as rectilinear motion. What do we call it as? Rectilinear motion. If the body moves in a straight line, then we call it as rectilinear motion. Understood? What do you mean by motion? Motion means it is a change in the position of the object with the time, and if the object is moving in a straight line, then we call it as rectilinear motion. This much is about our heading. Next, we'll go in deep into the concept. Now, what do you mean by mechanics? I'll write it at the center because I need it. Mechanics. What do you mean by mechanics? Mechanics is a branch of physics which deals with the study of the objects which is in the state of rest and also the objects at the state of motion. What do you mean by mechanics? Mechanics is the branch of physics which deals with the study of objects at the state of rest and the state of motion. Both. You are going to study about the objects which are at motion and also which are at rest. Rest means it is not moving. So I can say, what do you mean by object is at rest? At the state of rest, the object is said to be in the state of rest if the position of the object does not change with respect to time. With respect to time. If the position of the object does not change with respect to the time, that means if it is remaining same, then we call it as the state of the object is rest. So mechanics is the branch of physics which deals with the study of the objects at the state of rest and at the state of motion. This mechanics is divided into two types: statics and dynamics. Statics and dynamics. Statics means it is nothing but a branch of mechanics which deals with the study of objects at the state of rest. If the object is in the rest, and if you are going to study about it, then it is nothing but statics. If the objects are in motion, and if you study about that, that is nothing but dynamics. Mechanics is divided into two types, statics and dynamics. Statics means it is a branch of mechanics which deals with the study of the objects at rest. Whereas dynamics, it is a branch of mechanics which deals with the study of objects in motion. Understood? It deals with the study of object in motion. Next. Again, this dynamics is divided into two types. Dynamics is divided into two types, kinetics and kinematics. Kinetics and kinematics. Kinetic means they are not scooter. Kinetics means it is the study of objects in motion, correct, because it is a branch of dynamic, correct, motion, by considering the cause of motion. Why it has moved? You are considering it. You want that reason. You are considering the cause of motion here. Whereas in kinematics, you are not considering the cause of motion. I don't want to know why it is moving, how it is moving. No, I don't want to know it. I just want to know that the objects are in motion and I want to study about that. That's all. I don't want to consider any cause for the motion. Then such a study is nothing but kinematics. Understood? Kinetics is nothing but kinetics is a branch of dynamics which deals with the study of objects in motion, considering the cause of motion. We are considering the cause of motion. Whereas kinematics, it is a branch of dynamics which deals with the study of objects in motion without considering the cause of motion. Without considering the cause of motion is nothing but kinematics. Understood? So now what and all we learned? We learned what do you mean by motion. Next, if the objects are moving in a straight line, we call it as rectilinear motion. So today's homework, what you have to write is, you have to start from the heading, motion in a straight line. Next sentence. Or will you write question and answer kind? It's your wish. You can write question and answer kind also, or else you can write it in a sentence. Okay. If you are writing in point wise, then first point should be motion. The change in the position of the object with the time is called motion. Next, if the object is moving in a straight line, then it is said to be a rectilinear motion. Like this, you have to write point wise. Or else, if you are writing question and answer kind, then you can write, what do you mean by motion? Motion means the change in the position of the object when change in the position of the object with respect to time. What do you mean by rectilinear motion? If the object moves in a straight line, then it is said to be rectilinear motion. What do you mean by mechanics, or what is mechanics? It is a branch of physics which deals with the study of objects which are in the state of rest and the state of motion. Like this, you have to write sentence answers for all these: motion, rectilinear motion, mechanics, statics, dynamics, kinetics, kinematics. Then mechanics is divided into two types. What and all? Dynamics is divided into two types. What and all? What do you mean by kinetics? What do you mean by kinematics? So you have to write today's notes in this manner. I want notes, complete detailed notes, because today I did not write any sentence of these definitions. I hope you will write it properly. Why? Because see, you have reached PUC now. After reaching PUC, just like our 10th standard, if we write all the sentence on the board, I don't think you will upgrade yourself. To make you upgrade yourself, you have to try something. So now in today's class, I have given you each and every sentence. Just your work is to write it in your notes by listening to the words. I hope everyone will do it. And I don't think I'm getting each and everyone's notes through SMS. We are updating. We are writing who and all giving the notes. So please make yourself sure that you are sending the notes. Okay? We are making note of it. Fine. Please write notes. Let us see how you will write. After seeing how you are writing, let me think about giving notes further. Thinking about giving the points, writing about each and every points in board. I don't think you need each and every points in board, because whatever we are explaining itself is the notes. So I think if you listen to the class, you can write notes easily. Right? Simply writing each and every sentence in board and making waste of time. Correct? Fine. So, what and all is explained in today's class? We have started with the motion, then rectilinear motion, mechanics. Mechanics is a branch of physics which deals with the study of the objects which are at the state of rest and the state of motion. Mechanics is divided into two types: statics and dynamics. Statics, it is nothing but branch of mechanics which deals with the study of objects at rest. Dynamics is a branch of mechanics which deals with the study of the object in motion. Dynamics is divided into two types: kinetics and kinematics. Kinetics is a branch of dynamics which deals with the study of the objects in motion by considering the cause of motion. Kinematics is a branch of dynamics which deals with the study of objects in motion without considering the cause of motion. Understood till here? Without considering the cause of motion. Next, do you know what do you mean by point object? We can treat any object as a point object. What do you mean by point object? Point object means if the size of the object is very smaller compared to the distance it moves in a reasonable duration of time. Suppose, I'll give you an example. You are in the playground of your college or school. Okay, you're standing on the playground. And I'm observing you from the top of the building. Let me say I'm on the 3rd floor. Or I may be on the 5th floor. Okay, I'm standing on the 5th floor and observing you from there. You are in the ground floor. How is your size? The size is too small compared to the distance. Correct? The size of the object is too small compared to the distance. So if the size of the object is much smaller than the distance it moves in a reasonable time, duration of time, then we call it as point object. What is that point object? The size of the object is much smaller compared to the distance with the reasonable duration of time. One more example. Our aeroplanes or flights, it moves in the sky. When you see that aeroplane, it looks like a point object. Correct? Actually, the size of the aeroplane is too big, too length when you observe it from very nearer place. But when you observe that aeroplane or flight from the farther place, that is you are standing on the ground and the aeroplane is on air and you are observing it, then the size of that aeroplane is very, very small compared to the distance with respect to the time. Correct? So that is nothing but we call it as point object. So any object can be called as point object if the distance is very, very large compared to its size. Understood what is point object? That is nothing but point object. Then, now we are moving for the concept called frame of reference. Frame of reference. What do you mean by frame of reference? Frame means what? What do you mean by frame? Photo frame, correct? So I can call some boundary kind, correct? Frame means something boundary kind. Okay, some frame should be there. Now, frame of reference. What do you mean by frame of reference? Position of an object can be identified using coordinate system. Do you know what is coordinate system? Coordinate system means X coordinate, Y coordinate and Z coordinate. Coordinate system means like this in the graph. X-axis, Y-axis and Z-axis. This is a coordinate system. You can mention where the object is by using the coordinate system, whether the object is in the X-axis, Y-axis or Z-axis, or in between X and Y-axis, in between Y and Z-axis, or in between X-Z-axis, correct? So, we can identify the position of the object with respect to the coordinate system. This coordinate system along with the time is called frame of reference. The coordinate system with respect to time, we call it as frame of reference. For example, the object is moving along the x-axis with respect to time t. Then the graph is like this. Position of the object can be identified with the coordinate system. Correct? If this coordinate system along with the time is mentioned, then it is nothing but frame of reference. So what do you mean by frame of reference? The coordinate system along with the time will give you the coordinate system. So what we have to write for the definition of frame of reference is position of the object can be identified using the coordinate system. Position of the object can be identified with the coordinate system, and this coordinate system with respect to the time is nothing but called as, or this coordinate system along with the time is nothing but frame of reference. Okay? Is nothing but frame of reference. So, what is the best sentence to write? What do you define frame of, what do you mean by frame of reference? If the position of the object can be identified using the coordinate system. If this coordinate system is along with the time, it is said to be frame of reference. Understood? Reference means what? With respect to what? What is that? You have one standard reference kind. You are comparing. So along with the time, if there is a coordinate system, then we will call it as frame of reference. Understood? Understood? Next. What do you mean by path length? Path length. What do you mean by path length? What do you mean by path length? See, you are traveling from your home to college. It takes some distance, correct? What is that distance traveled by yourself to reach the college is nothing but your path length. That is nothing but your path length. Now can you define what is path length? It is nothing but total distance traveled by the body. Correct? Path length is nothing but total distance traveled by the body is called path length. What is path length? The total distance traveled by the body is called path length. Now the next question. Is this path length is having any direction? No, no direction. It is having only magnitude. Direction means I'll not say it is moving in the x-axis, x direction itself I have to add, and then if it moves in the y direction. No, see, path length is the, what did I say? It is a total distance. The total distance traveled by the body. Okay. Now, this path length has only magnitude. It has only magnitude and no direction. Here, direction means, see here, for example, one object is there. I'll call yourself. I'll take an example yourself. Okay, see, you are starting from your home to college. Okay, you have started now and you have reached our college. Again, you'll go back to your home via same route. Okay, from which route you have come to the college? In the same back to your home, you are going to the through the same route. Okay, fine. This is your home and this is your college. You have started and you have reached college. Again, you are going back to your home. Correct? Now, what is the total distance traveled by the body, or what is the path length? If there is a 10 kilometer from your home to college, then the total distance traveled by you from home to college is 10 kilometer, and the total distance traveled by yourself to reach from home to home. That is, you will start from home, you will go to college, you will come back to the home. What is the total distance traveled by you then? 10 plus 10 kilometer. That is nothing but path length. We are not considering direction. But if you had considered the direction, then the going is in this direction, coming back is in the reverse direction. So 10 minus 10. Therefore, total distance what you have traveled, if it is 0, then you have considered direction. So while calculating the path length, we are not considering any direction. If you are considering the direction, then you have to see this arrow mark. Now I am not seeing this arrow mark. For me, I don't want arrow mark. I just want to know that it starts from home, you reach college, you will go back to the home through the same route. So what is the total distance? 10 plus 10. Therefore, total distance traveled by you to start from home and to reach back to home after going to college is 20 kilometers. Understood how it is? So I can say path length is nothing but total distance traveled by the body. It has only magnitude, no direction. Magnitude means these numbers. It has only magnitude and no direction. We call this path length as a scalar quantity. What is the scalar quantity? You will understand a little bit later as we move further in this chapter. Because in deep, we are going to speak about the vector, scalar quantity, vector quantity and all. That is, we are describing a physical quantity in two types, that is scalar quantity and vector quantity. Scalar quantity means it is a quantity, it is a physical quantity which has only magnitude and no direction. Whereas vector quantity means a physical quantity which has both magnitude and direction. In general, I will speak now so that you will understand. See, physical quantity means any quantity which can be measured. Okay, physical quantity means any quantity which can be measured is called physical quantity. Next what I want to speak is, this physical quantity is divided into two types, scalar quantity and vector quantity. This one we are not going to speak now. Actually, we have to speak it later. But that word called scalar comes in this concept. So I have to explain you what is scalar and vector. Correct? So physical quantity means any quantity which can be measured. Okay. Any quantity if you can measure, then it is nothing but a physical quantity. Fine. The physical quantity which can be measured is divided into two types. Scalar quantity and vector quantity. What is a scalar? Scalar quantity is a physical quantity which has which has only magnitude and no direction. It has only magnitude and no direction. You are not considering any direction means that physical quantity is nothing but called as scalar quantity. If you consider both magnitude and direction, and then it is nothing but called as vector quantity. A physical quantity having only magnitude and no direction is nothing but a scalar quantity, and a physical quantity if has both magnitude, a physical quantity having both magnitude and direction is said to be a vector quantity. Understood? Now, our path length, it has only magnitude, no direction. So, it is what? It is a scalar quantity. Is it can you measure the path length, that is total distance? Yes, you can measure it in terms of meters or kilometers or centimeters or inches also. Correct? You can measure it. So, it is nothing but a physical quantity. Path length is nothing but a physical quantity called scalar quantity. Why it is a scalar quantity? Because it has only magnitude, no direction. So, therefore, I'll call it this path length as a scalar quantity. So it is nothing but a scalar quantity, and it has only magnitude, no direction. Understood till here? Understood? Next what I want to speak about is displacement. Displacement. What do you mean by displacement? It's a familiar word for you, correct? Displacement. What do you mean by displacement? Displacement means change in the position of the object in particular direction. Change in position of object in particular direction. You are speaking in terms of a particular direction here. So, displacement is nothing but change in position of the object in particular direction. That is what I said. You start from home, reach college, 10 kilometers. Again, you reach back to your home, correct? You are seeing direction. This forward direction, reverse direction. So, what is the total displacement? Total displacement is 0. Total displacement is 0. Plus minus total 0. That is nothing but 10 minus 10. That is equal to 0. You are considering the direction. See here, the displacement, it is nothing but, you don't write the symbol equal and all. What you have to write? Displacement is nothing but, or the change in the position of the object with the, in particular direction. Change in position of the object in particular direction is called displacement. It has both magnitude, you have numbers, no? How much you have traveled? Okay, so it has both magnitude and direction. So it is a vector quantity. So path length is a scalar quantity and displacement is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. Understood till here? Very, very important concept. These are basic concepts. If you don't understand till here, then you will not understand further this chapter at all. Okay. So in today's class, you have learnt about the motion,